Good to see you all after a long break. So I will directly share the screen, and before I share the screen, as a teacher, one of the toughest or one of the challenging tasks is to take a post-lunch session. Many of you are teachers who are listening, and you all agree with me. Post-lunch sessions are very, very challenging and very difficult. So today, again, I am subjected to that challenge wherein the session will be post-lunch, keeping the audience awake, keeping the audience in touch with the subject is a big challenge. I'll try my best, and we will start sharing, or let me present. One second. Hope the voice is clear. Okay. Good afternoon, all, and thank you all for joining. If we compare homeopathy to a three-legged stool, for example, assuming we compare homeopathy to a three-legged stool, you need to understand those three legs of this particular stool. Like, this particular stool, that is homeopathy. The first important leg will be, I'm a materia teacher, so I've got materia medica here. And the second, or this should be the first very important tool that you need to understand, that is organon of medicine. Organon of medicine is a very important subject. Okay. My sir used to tell it is like the user manual. Whenever you buy any electronic gadgets or any new equipment, you will be provided with a user manual. If we go through the user manual, then we will understand the equipment better. Similarly, the user manual of homeopathy is organon of medicine. If you have a thorough knowledge, if you understand organon better, then homeopathy will become very easy. The third leg of the stool will be repertory. Now, this is a beautiful example. Now, one of this skill or one of the leg breaks, then the stool will collapse. This tool, we have compared it to homeopathy. So one of the subjects we are not very well equipped, then the homeopathic practice will collapse. What I am trying to start, I am trying to start with a very strong statement that the three vital subjects in homeopathy, and if you have to practice the right homeopathy, you need to have a sound knowledge of all the three. Okay. We will straight away start with a simple case, and a sincere request before I start the session. I told you it's a post-lunch session, so we will try to make it as interactive as possible. And it's again on an online medium, so we can't see each of us, but we'll try to keep the chat box open and we'll try to understand. So please keep a book, pen. Whatever case is narrated, you please listen, understand. And one more biggest challenge of today's webinar, Dr. Bharat was trying to tell me, we have students and we also have UG students, PG students, and of course, practitioners. So managing all the three, again, will be a very, very challenging task. We'll do our best. So what I was insisting is, please keep a pen, book, listen to the case that is being narrated, and you come with your inputs. Okay. And one more request is, I will not be addressing to the doubts. Doubts I've kept separate 20 minutes extra. So we will preferably keep the question and answer session in the end, because some question coming up, and if I start answering that question, we will be lost. So I hope you agree with what I'm trying to tell. So this is a small case. In my college OPD, one fine day, I had a case of a very young girl who presented with not being able to concentrate. Her exams were next week and she was feeling very anxious. She was not able to study. She was not able to concentrate. In such situation, what remedies come to your mind? In such situations, where is the Dr. Bharat? Where is the yeah? Okay, chat box is open. Very good. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. It's moving fast. Good. Very good. Okay. So now rubric, repertory point of view. You have given me the materia medica point. Repertory point. Where do you look for the rubric in your repertory? Which chapter? Which is the appropriate rubric? Very good. Mind. Okay, good. Mind. There is a rubric, anticipation examination before. Okay. So that's the commonest rubric we take for examination funk. Okay. So you are absolutely right. These are the remedies that you have come up with, and the same remedies I also thought of. See, I was trying to tell you about the importance of organon. Organon, aphorism number 90, footnote number 85. What does Hahnemann tell in this aphorism? What does Dr. Hahnemann tell in this aphorism? Okay, when it was materia medica, when it was repertory, we had a lot of people contributing. When it comes to organon, we all have some inhibitions. Okay, chalo. It's not maintaining cost. Okay, anyway. See now, in aphorism number 90, Dr. Hahnemann says, once you finish the case taking, you should make a note of the observations that you have seen in the patient. What exactly you have observed, that he says you'll have to make a note. And in footnote number 85, he further says, subjective, objective, all those observations have to be taken into consideration. See, when this young girl narrated her case, more than the narrating part, when I observed her face, I could see a lot of panic. I could see a lot of anxiety in her face. So personally, I was not very happy with the expression that she had come to me with. This was my observation. I observed that she was looking a little disturbed. So what I did, now before I tell you what I did, how the case progressed, we will try to take the blessings of this great man, Dr. Hahnemann. See, I've given you a second time. Please think what can be done and we'll come back. So this great man who introduced homeopathy, so seeking Dr. Hahnemann's blessings. See, many of the times it is told homeopathy is vast. Homeopathy is like ocean. As a young practitioner, I also was lost in this ocean of homeopathy. There was no direction. That's when I met this great man, Dr. Praful Vijaykar sir. And he was like a compass. When many of us, when we were lost in the ocean, he was like a compass who showed us the right direction. A man with a lot of vision. He wanted homeopathy. He wanted young homeopaths to practice the right homeopathy. I am blessed, I am fortunate. I could meet sir. I could learn few things from him. Unfortunately, he left us, and many of us seriously feel his loss. He would always encourage youngsters like us. You have to share the knowledge. Don't keep the knowledge to yourself. What you learn from me, you spread. And this is what I am doing. A simple thing that I am doing is I am trying to spread the teachings that I have learned from sir. Many cases, many concepts that I will be presenting today will be a reflection of what I have learned from this great man. Sir, wherever you are, continue guiding us in practicing the right homeopathy. We miss you and seeking your divine blessings. Vijayka sir, one more great man. Many of you who have attended my previous webinar, guess who this man is? You know whom I am talking about. My teacher, who has had a very great influence in my teaching career. 2 days back, when I was ready with the presentation, this presentation, I went to him for his approval, for him to guide, for him to add, for him to look for the mistakes, and for him to help. And he's always there. He's a very busy man, but whenever I go, I don't know, I'm lucky. He keeps his work aside with a smiling face. He looks at me, and a lot of the teaching methodology that I have followed or I've been following is what I've learned from my own teacher, Muni Rama sir. So thank you for being there for me, and thank you for motivating to do a good job in teaching. So Muni Rama sir, now see, we are diverting a little, but this diversion is very important. For the participants who are joined late, you have not missed much. I have just shared a small case, and I've also tried to tell them the importance or the important subjects in homeopathy. Okay, so see now what I'll be focusing for next 1.5 hours is, see, whenever you look at studying rubric or whenever you look at understanding rubric, what do you expect? What do you expect? What do you expect, when you as a student, you as a practitioner, when you're looking at a rubric, when you're looking at understanding or studying a rubric, what do you expect? Can I have some quick inputs? What do you expect when you look at, when you're looking at understanding a rubric, under what headings you would like to understand a rubric? A student, at the level of student and at the level of practitioner, good. You'll be looking at the meaning, that's the basic step. You will be looking at the interpretation, beautiful. Yes, very good. Yeah, good. You got all the things right. You look at the miasm, you look at the clinical application, beautiful. Yeah, good job, keep going. Okay, you look at the conversion, beautiful. Somebody has used the word conversion. I can't take your names because you are too quick and it is moving very fast. So what I'll be doing next 40-45 minutes or 1 hour is, with an example, I'll give you how you should study a rubric in a practical setup. Okay. So first and foremost, what we need to do is we need to interpret the literal meaning of a rubric. This is the basic and first step. So please note the steps. We can add few, okay? Relate the patient symptoms to the rubric. Now what symptom the patient who is sitting in front of you, what is he telling? As a homeopath, when somebody is talking something, we'll always try to convert that into a repertorial language. So that's what we need to do. Decipher the mind dynamics of the patient to indicate specific rubric. Once the patient narrates, you'll have to again separate them and you'll have to decide which rubric is appropriate. Okay. Identify rubric specificity in relation to the patient context. This is very, very important. Okay. We'll look at it And yeah, this is what many of the practitioners were talking of. See, there are so many rubrics, mind, physicals, generals, there are so many rubrics. Now, how do you understand the clinical utility of a given rubric? When this rubric should be taken, when this rubric should not be taken. Okay. Now, this is again the organon part, the miasm part, very, very important. We look at that, and many times the common problems as a practitioner. See, I have evolved, I'm still evolving from nowhere to something today. So during our evolution, we have gone through a lot of practical problems. We also have to look at differentiating similar rubrics based on patient context and clinical state. See, it's a technical term, but to put it in a very simple way, we need to understand the similar rubrics, the cross references, okay? And more or the most difficult part of understanding rubric is when you type anger, you have some 300 remedies. Now, how those 300 remedies have different anger, how do they express their anger? The materia medica part, that is also very, very important. So I hope I'm clear with what I am trying to do for next few minutes. If this is clear, then we will have a very smooth ride. Will not have any difficulty. So taking a rubric, I am trying to explain you how a rubric should be studied, and this will be supported with cases. We'll try to make it more practical. Okay. Now this is the topic, understanding rubrics through cases. Now, when I hope you're with me, and you remember that small case that we were discussing of a very young girl who had exams next week. She was into a lot of panic, fear, anxiety. She was not able to concentrate, and she came for help. This is the case that we were discussing. When I saw her face, I told you I was not happy. What she is trying to tell and what is shown on the face, they were not matching. Luckily, I am blessed with a very, enthusiastic, diligent PG scholars. So I requested one of the PG scholar. I told her, look, she's got some issues. Please take her aside. It's a OPD setting. So I told her 1-to-1 setting will be better. Please take her aside and take her case. Now look at the beauty, what the beauty of the case taking the PG did. So please make a note of whatever you feel is important, and we will have a discussion. So see, our case taking, is a very lengthy case taking. If I give you the lengthy case taking without censoring it, then we can do justice to only one case. Okay. So I have kept the important ingredients. For example, in this case, past history is taken, family history is taken, personal history is taken, menstrual history is taken, everything is taken in any case that I'm discussing. But I am giving you what is relevant for today's learning. Okay. So far is clear, or you have any doubts? Is the speed, is the voice, everything fine? Somebody says no audio. Is audio fine? Yeah, good. So if you're clear, perfect. Thank you. So we'll get back. Must be from their side, there should be some technical issues. Please look into the technical issues so that you don't miss. I'll read what my PG had taken. I'm feeling very anxious. I'm not able to study. I'm not getting concentration. Full day I'll be weeping. I'll put a timetable. I try to study, but I can't complete. I'll be so anxious during exams, crying without my knowledge. PG asked, why are you so anxious? The patient says, will I be able to pass? Okay, we'll go ahead. People might think so much she has studied till not getting enough marks. I want to top, I want to concentrate, but I can't. I get so much of bad thoughts. If I can't do this, what will I do in future? I feel like dying. My mom also tells me the same. Not that her mom is telling her to die, but what I'm trying to tell is, if you can't do this, what will you do in future? Is what the mom is trying to tell her. Very nice student, studied very well. During NEET exams, I got anxious, I became depressed, I couldn't study. While reading, out of anxiety, I pick my nails till it bleeds. Even though it is painful, I keep picking. And she had shown her finger to my PG scholar who had taken the case, a lot of spots. I do make notes and read also, but I should revise it properly. I am not able to read at all. I will be crying sumne. Sumne alta irtini. This is the Kannada language. So for you, I put it in brackets. I keep beeping without any reason. Even while narrating the case, this girl was beeping. I get so much of suicidal thoughts. Sometimes I feel like jumping out of hostel building. Thinking about my parents, I don't do it, but I have a strong feeling to jump from the hostel building. Last year exams also, I couldn't score good marks because of the anxiety. I got only 63 percentage. Okay. If I fail, what will my parents think? What will my friends think about me? My parents, they're working so hard. Whatever I ask, they're providing me. But I am not able to do this much also for them. I am not able to study. I am not living up to my parents' expectations. I feel very bad. During lockdown also, I made notes. I shared with my friends. I helped them in studying. I explain everything to them. But if I can't execute them in my exams, everything will go waste. I had put so much effort for making notes. People will come and take notes and study from that. If I don't give, what will they think about me? During exam time, I take only 15 minutes to eat as I don't want to waste my time. I don't feel hungry during exams. I just swallow fast and I come back and I keep studying. I go alone for food as I don't want to waste time chit-chatting with friends. Okay. My sleep is also disturbed. I can't sleep. I get thoughts. I should keep studying. I am not able to do anything. I call my parents many times. I feel bad. I don't want to trouble them. They have been doing so much for me and I am not able to give back. I feel very, very sad and I feel very bad for that. I want consolation. I am very much attached to my parents. If I go home, I feel better. But there, I can't study as I waste my time talking to them. Before exams, I keep crying. I can't control myself. I feel a sensation of constriction in throat when I cry, suffocated feeling. During anxiety, spark-like sensation comes from my stomach to throat. I want to calm down, but I can't. Past history, personal history, everything taken. Now this is the case. Can I have some? Okay. Now, what exactly you understand from this case? Having heard the case, what exactly you understand? Now, what do we do? Should we still give those, what, Gelsemium, the Silesia, the Ethusa, the Argentum? Do you think they still come into the picture? Okay, I have a quick question for you. What could be the probable rubrics that you can think of? See, please don't jump into remedies. Okay. See, if you have to jump into remedies, then we need not take the case in detail. Don't jump into remedies. Can I have some quick what probable rubrics? Okay. Yeah, I mean, you people are so quick. Oh, I mean, I'm not able to see anything like, letters running in front of the eyes. They just keep moving fast, fast. Good. Okay, but the beauty is my eyes will take what my mind wants. Okay. So probably a lot of things you have come up. Hats off. Good job. Keep it up. Happy. You're all active. You're all contributing. Good. Now, okay, somebody says confidence want of. Okay, good. Can we have a quick, short set of rubrics? See, I have taken, I'll directly go into the rubrics. If at all you feel why I have taken this, I am giving an explanation. And if you feel there was something else and I did not take, please do ask me in the questionnaire session. I'll be there. Now I am directly coming to the point. Many of you have given all these things and I'm very happy. Now, one rubric that I've entered this case with was mutilating his body. This is one. I'll tell you why. I'll substantiate. And second rubric we took was suicidal disposition, throwing himself from a height. And third rubric was remorse. And fourth was weeping involuntarily. I'll stick only to these four rubrics. I'll explain why I have taken these four rubrics. Now somebody said mutilating self. Can somebody justify what made me think of mutilating self? We'll stick only to this. Can somebody justify mutilating self? Okay, fine. Or was it nail biting or what was it? See, she had a very bad habit of, yes. See, this is not simple nail biting or this is not simple picking at and around the nail bed. She would literally, pick it till it bleeds. Beautiful. Thank you. Many of you have got the answer right. So I'm questioning myself. Have I got anything to teach? Beautiful. Good. Even though it was painful, even though it was bleeding, she would continuously do this. This can be taken as mutilating his body. Second, suicidal disposition, throwing himself from a height. See, it is not disposition, but this is given under the rubric suicidal disposition. See, she had a strong thought of jumping from her hostel building and ending herself. Now, quickly, I will only give you the situation. Now, why not impulse? See, impulse is something that comes sudden and you feel like jumping. In impulse, it's not necessary that they want to end their life. Please understand the difference. When you want to throw yourself from a height and you want to end your life, that will become suicidal disposition. When you just get a thought, sudden thought, many times it happens, especially if you are urgentum, you're walking on the terrace or you're walking on the fourth floor or fifth floor, suddenly your mind says, macha, jump, and you jump. But there, you have no intention of taking your life. I hope you are clear with the differentiation. Okay, so suicidal disposition, throwing herself or himself from a height. And why did I take remorse? Can somebody justify remorse here? Can somebody justify remorse here? Why was remorse taken into consideration? See, she was feeling bad that my parents are doing so much. They are providing me with everything, but I am not up to their expectation. Okay, she was feeling guilty. She was feeling a deep regret. So remorse was taken. And the fourth rubric that was taken into consideration was weeping involuntarily. Okay, these four rubrics were taken. If at all there are any questions, please keep the questions. Whatever I know, I'll definitely answer, but not now. Okay, because 4 o'clock is the time limit given to me, and I want to preferably finish before 4. And a lot of concepts, a lot of new things I have and I want to share. So 4 things were taken, and this was repertorized. See the surprise remedies that we get here. We got belladonna and we got stramonium. Okay, we got belladonna and stramonium, 2 remedies. Now, somebody has asked me differentiate. Okay, we'll come to it. Now, how do you differentiate belladonna from stramonium? Now, trust me, this was a very emergency situation. The doctor, the PG scholar was taken the case. She is listening to the case presentation, and I don't, with her permission, I'll take her name. She is Dr. Meenu Krishna. She knows the seriousness of the case, and she was so much worried about the patient. She used to keep a track of the patient because she has heard the girl giving the case, and she knew it was a very serious thought of she jumping or she doing something to herself was a very serious thought. And Dr. Meenu, apart from taking a very good case, being a very good human being, she has constantly kept in touch with the patient, messaging her, asking her how you are, what you are. Now, before we go to the follow-up, the question here is remedy. Belladonna, stramonium, 2 remedies. Can somebody quickly, from your knowledge, see, it's very simple. You have only 2 remedies. So somebody say belladonna and somebody say stramonium. It's very easy. Good. Now, why stramonium? Why stramonium? Why stramonium? What was the observation that I made? What did I tell you? This girl was in a state of panic. When somebody is in a state of panic and in your repertorial totality, you get stramonium. Please, from what I have learned from Vijayakar sir, please close your eyes. Don't think of anything else. Use stramonium. I have also used stramonium in many of the COVID situation. You know, people going into panic. Somebody got COVID. Sir, please give something, or they go into a very panicky state. The remedy, many practitioners, senior practitioners, please make a note of this. You can use this remedy, stramonium. When they go into a panic, out of control situation, out of control state, please think of stramonium. Now, what is it that was missing in belladonna? What I did not see of belladonna in this particular girl. Well, I'll be differentiating in the end. Belladonna will have more of red face, redness, anger. That was missing, and here it was more of panic. So, which potency do we give? Do we give 30? Do we give 200? 32, 33? Which is the potency? See, once you select the remedy, selecting the right potency is also very, very important. So, the prescription, 1 dose of stramonium 10 was given. Okay, and please don't wait for 3 days, 4 days and all. The follow-up also has to be quick, keeping the mental state of the patient. Okay, bad suicidal thoughts. Any minute she feels like jumping, she feels like ending her life. The follow-ups also should happen at a very quick interval. So Dr. Meenu took the follow-up. See, this is what Dr. Meenu took. She came with the patient, and the credit goes to Dr. Meenu for taking this case. I have just added the seasoning part. In Kannada, we say Oggarne hakodu. So she has taken the case. I had certain things that I had to confirm from her, and then we prescribed. So stramonium, 10 1 dose. First follow-up, I told you it was next day. What should happen? Anxiety reduced, concentration improved, nail picking reduced. She is still picking the nail, not to the extent of bleeding. Now this is where miasm plays a beautiful role. Picking to the extent of bleeding is syphilitic. So that syphilitic miasm, anxiety, uncontrolled anxiety, that can again be syphilitic. So she is taking a control over herself within 24 hours of your stramonium. Dr. Meenu Krishna is here. You can check with her. This is what she has given. Second follow-up after 3 days. Feeling better, able to study, able to concentrate, sleep is good. Third follow-up, which was after a week, feeling better, no anxiety. She hasn't wept, has not troubled calling her home often. Appetite is good, nail picking is reduced, suicidal thoughts gone. Okay, all this happened within a week's time and after a single dose of stramonium 10 ml. Okay, we didn't counsel, Meenu did not counsel, no, please don't commit suicide, no, please don't pick the skin around the nail. Meenu did not tell anything. She took the case like many great homeopaths do. She took the case, she presented, we prescribed. No counseling, nothing. Fine. You still feel this case had a scope for all this? Absolutely no. So what we learn from this case is, from the organon, your observation skill, a very good case taking, a good knowledge of repertory, a right dose, a right remedy, can bring in magic. Okay. So now I'm coming to the topic, we have more cases. Now this is what I was trying to tell you. Whenever we study a rubric, we should study a rubric in a pattern. I've already explained in objectives for all those who have joined late, or for few students, it may need another repetition. So for the benefit of the group, I'm repeating it again. First point is, you should know the knowledge of the word. You should know the meaning of the word. The meaning, the knowledge, the interpretation. From patient's language to repertorial language, how do we convert is what we need to understand. When to take a given rubric, when not to take a given rubric. This is again very important. What is the miasmatic background of a rubric? You should understand. And I told you, we'll have similar rubrics. Many times we'll be confused. Is it a suicidal thought, or is it suicidal disposition, or is it death desires, or is it death conviction of whatever? We have similar rubrics. How do we differentiate from the similar rubrics is what we need to understand. And ultimately, the main exercise of understanding a rubric is its clinical utility. Anything you study in your third BHMS, final BHMS, during your internship, this should get reflected in your clinical practice. This is very important. So what I am going to do is, keeping an example of mutilating self, the rubric, mutilating his body or mutilating self. Keeping this rubric as an example, as a model, I will explain how a rubric has to be understood in a practical setting. Okay. So before I go further, till now, are things fine? Are things clear? Slow, fast? Okay. So if things are clear, we'll go ahead. Now, what does the word mutilating self mean? So please stick to the question asked. What does mutilating self mean? This is the first question. See, I hope you are clear. Next few minutes, we will understand the rubric mutilating self. Okay, fine. Somebody says destroying self, cutting self, injuring self. Very good. Okay, somebody is jumping. It's an autoimmune rubric. We'll not look at that. Good, but anyway, good. See now, from the dictionary, if you look at the dictionary, this word, it was coined somewhere in 1530, and it is derived from a Latin word, mutilus. It's of no importance, but just remember, the meaning is inflicting a violent and disfiguring injury on. To inflict a violent and disfiguring injury. This is the dictionary meaning. Now, as a homeopath, from the meaning, what do we understand? So, this rubric comes into play, comes into picture when we have a patient who has a tendency to injure himself. Okay, so this is what is the basic understanding from the meaning. Going ahead, now, which situations? The next objective is in which situation the rubric mutilating self can be taken into clinical practice. So before I start from my side, when do we take? When do we take? Can you give me some situations? Can you give me some examples where this rubric can be taken in practice? Okay, in case of what is it? Where the person harms himself. Okay, good. Okay, anything else? Fine. Must be you didn't get my question. Okay, see, you are trying to tell they might do out of frustration, but how do they present to you with? How will you decide? Yes, cutting with knife, cutting with blade, peeling off the lips, beautiful. This is what I was looking at. Okay, anyway, I'll give you a few, and these are all the cases that we'll be discussing today. I also personally take this opportunity to thank those patients of mine whom, when I requested them for the permission, I told them it's a learning process. Many students, doctors will get benefited. So they were very happy in giving me permission. So thanks to all those patients of mine who have given permission to share their images, their cases, and I'm not revealing their identity. Okay. Now this is again a case, a very disturbing case. Now, for example, this can be a situation where you can take mutilating self. Now this is what I want. Anything that is visual, it will have a better impact. Any learning that is visual will have a better impact. So I've got the visuals for you, I've got the photos for you. Now this, for example, somebody cutting with a blade. I had a case which I'll be discussing. This granny would scratch. She had such bad itching. She would scratch with knife. Okay, we'll discuss that case. For example, somebody is plucking their hair to the extent it injures the scalp. That can also be taken into mutilating herself. Somebody was using this peeling lips. Somebody rightly said, I don't have a picture of that. That can also be used. Now this is again a very disturbing image where the person has peeled the skin around the nail. Okay. These are all very disturbing, but you have to bear with it. It's a learning. Simple nail biting cannot be part of mutilating self. Biting to the extent, they eat off the flesh, it starts bleeding. They don't bother, they continue to bite their lips. Syphilitic, to that extent, that only that will get into mutilating self. So I hope you're getting the second objective. Which situation a rubric can be taken into consideration? Now I am talking of mutilating self, so I'm using these images, few taken from Google Images, so that you understand the concept better. Now what are all the remedies we have? So what are all the remedies? See, the old repertory, I have taken this from Kara. The old repertory gives 7, but I have included few more from the new repertory so that you get a benefit of more remedies. Okay, we will understand each of them, how each remedy behaves, or how each remedy or when each remedy can be taken, or why do they mutilate themselves, why each of them mutilate themselves, what makes them cut themselves, what makes them injure themselves. We will try to understand with cases. Okay, a very interesting point. Now the organon, this is a very integral part of homeopathy, and it's a very integral part of understanding a rubric. Now, why miasm becomes important? Every rubric has a miasmatic background. Okay. Now, why miasm becomes important? See, Dr. Hahnemann's organon, aphorism number 3. For example, if you have a person with a grave pathology, which you know from the knowledge of the medicine, he's got a grave pathology. For example, I'll talk to you about a simple thing. He's got leukoderma, and you know leukoderma is syphilitic. See, when you are trying to treat leukoderma, the rubrics that you enter should also be of the same caliber. I suddenly got off an example here. For example, now that there is lockdown, the Ramayana, the Mahabharata, all those epics, they are re-telecasted. And if you see, if some person, you know, he takes a shastra or he takes a bana, an arrow, and you know, the other person is also leaving an arrow from the other end. It will be a snake or it will be something else. So the opposite person also should leave an arrow which is equivalent to that, or it should be powerful. Please imagine the scene that you would have watched on TV. So one bana is coming like this here, very powerful one, and the opposite person also should think of something very powerful. If this is not powerful, then this bana will hit you and you'll be killed. What I'm trying to tell you is, when the disease mechanism, they are coming with something very strong pathology. See, the enemy is having a machine gun. The enemy is having AK-47. If you have to fight with him effectively, you can still fight. If you have to fight with him effectively, you should have something more sophisticated weapon. If you stand there with danda, or if you stand there with bow and arrow, do you think you can win over that particular person? No. Here I am trying to give you an example. The person who is suffering with a grave disease, you can't enter that case with cooperative, company desires, irritable. Such rubrics will not have a role to play. Unless you understand the miasm, which Vijayakar sir always keeps telling us, unless you understand the miasm of the disease and miasm of the rubric, then and only then you can see cure. You can see Herding's law coming up. Okay. So what I was trying to tell you is, the miasmization of rubrics is a very important task. It is difficult, but you should know which is soric rubric, which is psychotic rubrics, which is syphilitic rubrics. You should have a list. You also have blended miasm, sorosyphilitic, psychosyphilitic, and you should classify them. Okay, which you should do after you attend this, or few of you would have already done this, but I insist, understand this, which is very, very important. So miasm of mutilating self, which is the miasm? Which is the miasmatic background of mutilating self. Very good, beautiful. It is frank syphilis. It is frank syphilis. Now, we look at the other component of today's objective, that is, what are the similar rubrics that come to your mind? I have a question for you. The topic we are discussing here is mutilating self. Now, which are all the rubrics which come very close to mutilating self? So, can I have some quick inputs? Okay, very good, good. Yes, suicidal, injuring himself, beautiful, good. Tormenting self, striking oneself, kill desires, very good, beautiful, good. So we will look at that part and we'll try to understand how to differentiate. See, these are all very, very important. See, to reach here, we took a lot of time. And with Vijay Kasa's knowledge that he has given us, and his vision that his knowledge has to be shared, many of you will get an idea to learn rubrics at a very young age, and it's a boon. Now, this is what somebody has rightly said, striking self. Okay, striking self, hitting oneself, striking self. Okay, that could be one probable rubric. Now, this is striking self, and this is injuring oneself. I'll tell you the difference. And this is tormenting oneself. Dr. Dikshit has contributed this, tormenting oneself. Okay. Now, we also have suicidal disposition. Okay. And somebody said kill desires, that also can come. And one more important thing that can come up here is threatening. Okay. Will you give me money? If you don't give, I'll cut. So this is threatening. Threatening, you all know, is more psychosis. They will not do. They will see a psychotic person will like himself very much. He will not harm himself, but he will threaten. Delicate parents, sensitive parents, girlfriend, you will marry me or no? If you don't marry, see, I'll cut. And she's a delicate carcinosin, she'll be ignitia, she'll be stephysagria, and they fall into the trap. So threatening is psychosis. Okay, tormenting himself is more at the mental level. Mentally, you are torturing yourself. So here you will not see any physical thing here. Striking self, yes. For example, we have cases wherein a person strikes himself against the wall with his hand. He strikes himself. I had a case of camphora. One gentleman, in anger, he would strike his chest. The only remedy is camphora, and he beautifully improved after camphora. So striking self, injuring self, tormenting himself, kill desires, threatening, suicidal disposition, these are all the rubrics which come very close to mutilating self. See, when we are lucky, sometimes it so happens we get all these things in a single patient. We get a group of rubrics which are very close. Now, the next challenge will be how to give or how to grade them. What is the hierarchy? So when you have all the previous thing that I've tried to show you here, when you are putting it into hierarchy, when you are arranging in an ascending order, striking oneself. See, when you strike, it might end in injury, it may not end in injury. Striking oneself will be in the bottommost. This is my understanding. I may be wrong, you can correct me. The next hierarchy, higher than striking oneself, will be injuring oneself. See, when you take this rubric, injuring oneself, you are sure you want to injure yourself. Okay, so this is something higher than striking oneself. Now, after that, you have mutilating self. Okay, after injuring oneself, you have mutilating self, causing a violent injury to oneself. and the topmost will be suicidal disposition, wherein in the past you have attempted, okay, you have tried to commit suicide. So that will be the topmost. So when you have 4 rubrics, similar rubrics, you should also learn to prioritize them. As a model, as an example, I am giving you this. You can do the same with other rubrics also. Okay. Till here, am I clear? Any confusion? Anything that you're not clear with? Anything that you're not clear with? Anything you want me to repeat? Fine, all clear? Good. See, question and answers will definitely come back. In case if I can't take it up in this session, if there is a scarcity of time, my mail ID, my WhatsApp number will be given to you. Feel free to ask questions. What I know is what I can share. What I don't know. As simple as that. Okay, we'll get back. We'll finish this. Now, I was going through the chat, and I also try to tell you, when you take a rubric, and when you should not take the rubric. Okay. Utility, clinical utility, when to take, when not to take. That's what we were trying to discuss. See, there are certain situations you need to be careful. For example, 3 days back, we have a mother of an autistic child that I'm treating. And please listen to this because I want your expert opinion. There was this mother who called me for the follow-up. Due to lockdown, we had a video consultation, and she told, Doctor, my son who is an autistic and he's in treatment, he's under treatment. He, in anger, he hits himself. In anger, he pinches himself. In anger, he bites himself. Now, my simple question is, can we take the rubric mutilating self? Can we take the rubric mutilating self? See, luckily, you have only 2 options. Yes, no. Okay. And 810 or 20 of you, fine. Okay. Majority of you say no. Fine. Now, why no? Why no? Why no? Because he is an autistic child. Mind you, each autistic child will have their own pattern of behavior. There will be something peculiar which might come up in their behavior. In spite of that, in this case, he biting himself, he pinching himself, I did not take. Many of you have given the right answer. Why we did not take? Because his intellect is compromised. He has no sense what is wrong, what is right. Intellect is 0. So in such cases, please don't take mutilating self. But there is an importance here. What is that importance? If in follow-up, the child who was biting himself in anger, who was hitting himself in anger, after you prescribe a right remedy, you should ask this point. Now, what is he doing in anger? If your remedy is right, the mother says, sir, surprisingly, he no more hits himself. He is hitting me, he is hitting the father. So that will become a very good follow-up. So in a person or in a condition where the intellect is compromised, this rubric will not have a role to play. Okay. So where to take, where not to take, this is what is very, very important. Okay. So we'll go ahead. Certain conditions, one need to be careful. See, it does not mean In case of depression, in cases of sadness, you should not take this rubric. You can take individualization. Not every case of depression they cut themselves. Not every case of depression they injure themselves. Okay, so you have to be a little careful when you take a rubric in a given situation. Okay, so we'll go ahead. We will look at the difficult part of today's objective, and this is what I teach in my college, the materia medica part. Now we will look at a serious aspect of today's learning. How do we differentiate the remedies which come under the rubric mutilating self? This is what many of you wanted. I was just going through the chat box. Many of you were asking, so differentiate the remedies. Okay, so if you look at the remedies, these are the remedies. If you look at the classification, see, always look for a pattern. When you have a set of remedies, then there will be some similarity. Like for example, in the rubric mutilating self, we have belladonna, we have hyos, we have stramonium. They are all drug remedies. Okay. Similarly, identify and remove. We have lysine, we have medorinum, we have syphilinum, we have tuberculinum. These are all the nosodes. And there are set of remedies that I can't fit in any of the above group. So we have arsenic, we have a spider, we have a fungi, we have a plant. We have two plants here. We have two plants. So we have put them in a separate heading. Now we'll talk of a case. Now before I take up the case, are you following what I'm trying to tell? Is it clear? Is it clear? Okay. See now, okay. So we will start with a case. Again, concentrate on the case and please give me your inputs. This case I just shared a little while ago. We had a very interesting case. See, as a homeopath, you should have this feeling every case is interesting. That is the beauty of homeopathy. You will get a lot of variations. You will get a lot of peculiar cases in clinic. Okay, we had this lady who was 65 and she had bad pruritus, suffered for almost 8 to 10 years. She had consulted the best dermatologist in and around Bangalore. Absolutely no relief. The itching is so severe that she literally takes knife and back, hands, wherever it is, she literally scratches. And you know, I was surprised to see the entire back, the entire hand, and of course her legs with all those, knife marks. Okay. Now, in this case, we prescribed her a remedy, and the remedy that was given was, if I'm right, Dr. Padmashri is attending today's webinar. I'm giving you the names so that you feel that the cases are genuine. You know, it's not made up, cooked up cases for the sake of telling. That Padmashri is part of today's webinar. She had taken this case, and the remedy that we prescribed this lady was Arsenicum alptenum. I'll give you the details, what made me prescribe Arsenicum alp. Now, when we look at arsenic under mutilating, don't you think it is a little surprising? Now, why did that surprise element come up here is, from the books that we have studied, arsenic has bad anxiety about health. He loves his life. Okay. He does not spend. He has got hypochondriasis. he is very stingy. He has got all those things. In the psoric and the psychotic phase, psychotic picture, arsenic loves life, is anxious. Any small sneeze, he will run to the doctor. But as the pathology progresses, okay, one very important thing that sets up in arsenicum malb is despair. Okay, so arsenic goes into mutilating self. These are few syphilitic rubrics, autoimmune rubrics that I have taken. Death desires, impulse morbid to stab his flesh with a knife he holds, injuring himself. See, if he is let alone, he has a fear he will injure himself, suicidal disposition, loathing of life. Now, what made me prescribe arsenic in this case was mutilating self from despair. Tomorrow, when you get this situation in your clinic, somebody is injuring, cutting himself because he is fed up. Sir, there is no hope. The lady with itching, she has used knife. Before that, she has used her finger. Before that, she has used some blunt object. The itching is not better. She is in such a despair state. Now she has started using the knife. Are you getting the beauty here? Now a single dose of arsenic 10 did wonders. Knife is used now only to cut vegetables. She no more uses knife on herself. Okay. Last 3 months she is on regular follow-up, beautifully improved. So when you have a patient or the cause for mutilating oneself in arsenic is despair. This is the take-home message. Now another remedy, agaricus. Agaricus also has mutilating oneself. I have not got an opportunity to use agaricus in this situation. I have used agaricus for various other complaints in multiple sclerosis, in many other neurological disorders. I have got a chance to use. And please also remember, strong fear of cancer. Again, close your eyes. One remedy that should come to your mind is agaricus. Okay, but why agaricus goes into mutilating oneself? I have not got a case, but there are so many of you, so I thought I'll share it so that in future, or you would have already missed a case and you can think of agaricus. Now, when do you think of agaricus? See, agaricus, you know, I'll give you the text, but I have something to tell you about agaricus. Agaricus is a patient who is highly foolish. Temerity is the word. He can do daredevil acts. For example, you know, jumping from there, jumping from one building to another building, do this stunt, do that stunt. Somebody who does all that stunts without being bothered about the consequences, the remedy should be agaricus. I repeat this beautiful remedy. See, agaricus goes to mutilating oneself because of that frenzy, F-R-E-N-Z-Y, frenzy state. He goes into an excited state, and in that excited state, he can harm himself. Or somebody might challenge him, yeah, you can't cut, or you know, oh, only simple thing, cutting. What will happen? Give me the blade. I will cut and show. So this situation, when it is more of foolishness, when it is more of not being aware, you can think of agaricus. I hope agaricus is clear. We'll again talk of a practical case. See, this was again a case that improved beautifully. A few days back, I had messaged this girl, this patient of mine, for two things. I wanted her permission to share her case, and I also wanted the follow-up. Because of the lockdown, we could not have a physical, follow-up kind of a session. So I just texted her over WhatsApp, and thanks to this particular patient who immediately responded, gave permission, and she shared her follow-up. This case was taken by me. Again, our cases, as I tried to tell you, they're very lengthy. Almost, it will run in pages, but I'll keep it short for you. I don't love reading the PPT that is there. I'll just give you in gist. This girl was a case of bad depression. She was on allopathic treatment. In spite of she taking strong allopathic medicines, the anxiety, the sadness did not improve to such extent that the psychiatrist told her, please discontinue your studies because studies is adding to the anxiety. Please stop studying. Please discontinue your studies. So this is the state when she came to me, and she also would become very anxious, very sad, and in that she would get a sudden thought and she would again peel off the skin around her nail, and she has told me, she has shown me pictures wherein she has ripped off her nail. She would bite off her fingernail, nail biting to the extent it bleeds. And in spite of it bleeding, in spite of all that, she would not feel anything. Though she is conscious, she would not feel. She was so much engorged in that thought. Sudden, she feels like doing something in that anxious state and she starts cutting and ripping. Now, this is the case. And bad, she would get disturbed. She would have issues with her family. Okay. Low on positivity, zero motivation. See, this is all what she has told. But ripping off her nail, she would even bite her toenails. Fine. So this is the case. After the medicine, this is what she has given me. After the given medication, I feel much better. There is no plucking of my nails. Mentally, I feel relaxed. Any disagreement, I would control myself. My thought wouldn't go mad on it. I'm talking about positivity. I'm motivating myself. I feel elevated. I feel much better. No bad depressed mood is what is her follow-up. Now, in this case, what could be the probable rubrics that you can think of? Just limit to this case. Just limit to this case and tell me what could be the probable. Very good, beautiful. If I'm right, Dr. Nisha Shah, she has come up with a rubric impulsive. Dr. Suchita is telling about self-destruction, beautiful. Bilal is talking of anesthesia, good. See now, Dr. Bilal, see anesthesia. You can think of anesthesia provided if this was there in other situations also. For example, if she falls, then she is not feeling anything. If she injures herself and then she is not feeling anything, then anesthesia will come up. This not feeling anything will happen only in this state. So anesthesia will not have a role in this particular case. Okay, so good, lot of inputs. Two rubrics are taken, which you have already contributed. Mutilating his body and that sudden thought to do something, that is impulse morbid. A sudden, unhealthy, spontaneous urge or inclination, and there is no control over the mind. Now, this state is what we call it as impulse morbid. I had given stramonium first with no improvement. Then again, I looked at the other things. Very restless patient, loves music. You know the remedy I'm talking of. She was given Tarantula tenem. Tarantula tenem. Mutilating out of impulses is Tarantula. Mutilating out of daredevil act is agaricus. Mutilating out of despair is arsenic. Mutilating out of impulses is tarantula. So tarantula again has a lot of autoimmune things, biting fingers, injuring himself, mania, tearing own hairs, pulling own hair, striking head with ants against wall. These are all few symptoms or few rubrics of tarantula. So tarantula mutilates out of impulses. Remember, okay? Now we'll quickly talk of the 3 drug remedies: belladonna, stramonium, hyoscyamus. If you look into the repertory, and repertory is a beautiful medium to learn materia medica. Okay, our old books, they will not speak of the syphilitic picture of materia medica. If you want the syphilitic picture of materia medica, you should go to the repertory. Okay, so belladonna, stramonium, hyoscyamus, they all have mania, they're all violent, they injure themselves, they mutilate themselves, they want to kill themselves, they have suicidal thoughts. But I will look at the broader aspect and I will give you how to differentiate these 3 drug remedies. Jesting, meaning being more jovial, is more. Being more jovial is more prominent in stramonium. Dr. Bharat, a simple request. There are a lot of questions coming up. One of you or your team member, please make a note of the questions so that once I am done with the presentation, let me not again waste time looking into the chat box and start looking at it. Please make a note of the questions they have asked so that we will answer the questions.
Sure.
Thank you. We'll get back. Jesting, making fun, is more in stramonium than hyos and belladonna. Loquacity, for example, talking more is more in stramonium than in belladonna and hyoscyamus. Hyos is more quarrelsome when you compare to belladonna and stramonium. Obscenity, obscenity is more marked in hyoscyamus. Redness, anger, and violence is more marked in hyoscyamus. Okay. See, more marked. Sorry, this is wrong. Please, when you take a pic of this, please make sure it is belladonna. It is not hyoscyamus. Let not the wrong image get circulated. Please correct it. It is redness, anger, and violence is more marked in belladonna. Okay. So this is about the drug remedies. Now a surprise element, a surprise remedy mentioned in mutilating self is simicifuga. Okay, Actia racemosa. So what we know about Actia? Actia has got a lot of sadness. Actia is also mentioned under ailments from disappointment in love. Disappointment in love leading to sadness, that dark cloud around their head, and they're going into a hysterical state, and in the hysterical state they want to injure themselves. I hope you are getting the picture, you are getting a clarity what exactly happens in Actia racemosa. So sadness, depression, going into hysterical state. In the hysterical state, they want to injure themselves. So this is with Actia. Now again, another plant. Probably this is the last plant, and then we'll be talking of nosodes next. Another 10 minutes, we'll talk of the nosodes. Now Staphylococcus aureus. Can somebody tell me, now that I have given you some material learning, how each remedy can be differentiated? Can somebody think of why a Staphylococcus aureus patient goes into mutilating oneself. Yes, many of you have come with answers like, yes, there is suppressed anger, beautiful, good, okay, okay, suppressed anger, indignation, insult, beautiful, good. See, I appreciate, I respect the answers that you have given. They're absolutely right. Now, I have put it in a simple way. Staff, not only anger, any emotion in Staphysagria is bottled up. Okay. Probably this injuring himself can be an outlet. Please understand this. Bottling up the emotions is a psychotic expression. This bottling up of emotion, one syphilitic outlet for them is either cutting themselves or injuring themselves. So a lady who has a lot of insult, lot of humiliation, lot of anger, a lot of emotion, she has been suppressing. And one fine day, as an act of, a discharge, as an act of feeling good, she starts cutting herself. And this cutting herself will relieve her. That is Staphysagria. So mutilating oneself out of suppressed emotions. I use the word emotions because it's not only anger, it's not only insult, there are a lot of things in Staphysagria. Now, one more practical situation. I know a lot of youngsters in this webinar. Now, this is a specific situation wherein you should remember Staphysagria. A person who has been disappointed in love and he feels insulted, he feels humiliated, and then he cuts himself, he injures himself. The only remedy that should come to your mind should be Staphysagria. I hope you are getting the material part. Okay. Now we will look at the nosodes. Out of the many nosodes which has mutilating self, I have experience only with medorinum. I'll be sharing a case of medorinum. Before I share medorinum case, I will give you the indications of mutilating self in syphilinum. Okay. See, syphilinum, again, it's a very syphilitic remedy. Striking himself, knocking his head against wall. These are few things I found in the repertory. This is tuberculinum. Again, knocking his head against wall, pulling hair. Now see the beautiful symptom given in tuberculinum. When you relieve the pain, they start pulling the hair. Okay. So if you get this situation tomorrow in your clinic, please think of tuberculinum. Why do you pull your hair? Sir, pulling hair will relieve some other pain that I am suffering with is tuberculinum. Okay. This is again a scary pic. Lycinum, the remedy prepared from the rabid dog, saliva of the rabid dog. So again, if you look into your repertory, lysine has lot of autoimmune rubrics. Biting himself, impulse to stab his flesh with the knife he holds, injuring himself, suicidal disposition, throwing himself from height. These are all few things you have in lysine. Now I'll again share a case, probably the last case for today's class, and we can wind it. See, now this is a case, again I'll give you the PG who had taken this case, Dr. Swati had taken this case, lengthy case, I'll give you a short glimpse of this case. She should be some 22-year-old girl, Muslim girl, who had come to me for polycystic ovarian disease and hypothyroidism. She is a girl who comes from a very small town, and at home there were a lot of restrictions. Brother, younger brother, elder brother, they are allowed to go out, they are allowed to come late, they go to their friend's place, They can wear any type of dress they want. This girl, though she also wants to party, she also want to enjoy, she also want to wear nice dress, earn all those things, she is not allowed to do anything like this. So when she came to me, she had amenorrhea for 1 year. 1 year she had absolutely no menses, and her TSH levels also were very, very high. So she wants to be free. She wants to wear dresses like this. She wants to roam around. She wants a lot of freedom. And she many times had a thought, why am I a girl? Okay, this is what feeling she had. See, many times mutilating self, you will come to know as an observation. When you're trying to check the BP, you would have seen some cut marks. Or when you're looking for the pallor, you'll be seeing the skin around the nail is all eaten off. You have blood marks there. Okay. So your observation, again, Dr. Hanneman's aphorism number 90 and footnote 85 makes sense there. So nobody will come to you and tell, uncle or doctor, I cut myself or I bite nail. Nobody will come. Again, knowing the miasm, knowing the disease, what they are suffering with, will give you a clue what will be their mental state. So this girl, when we were checking for her BP, we saw a deep cut with a blade. And I asked her, Madam, what is this? Sir, she hesitated a little and she told, Sir, in anger, जब भी मेरे को गुस्सा आता है ना, I take a blade and I cut. Fine? Okay? So this is the case. I hope you have all heard and I'm clear. Now, let's keep it simple. What could be the probable rubrics? Oh, good. There are many who have already contributed. Beautiful, good. See, the speed is something that gives us a kick. Good. Libertinism, beautiful. Mutilating self, yes. Yeah, if I'm right, Dr. Surubi, good, she's got all the 3 rubrics right. Good. Many of you have got, I know Dr. Surubi, so this is one way of acknowledging her presence. So 3 rubrics that will come up here. I'll explain the rubrics. We have another 20-30 minutes. And of course, we also have the questionnaire session. So I'll explain the rubrics. Confusion of identity. Now this is a beautiful rubric learned from Vijay sir. See, sir always says, now what made me think of confusion of identity in this particular case? See, this girl was not happy being a girl. She wanted to be a boy. Now, why she wanted to be a boy? Because she will get a lot of freedom and she is a girl who needs freedom. Okay. So when you're confused with your own identity, fine, naturally many girls, they land up with PCOD. So confusion of identity was one rubric that was very apt in this case. And she wanting to have freedom, she want to party, she want to travel, she want to go out, enjoy. Libertinism is not necessarily only to do with sex. Sexual freedom, there was a movement in France, sexual movement. That's when the word libertinism came up when you look into the history. But libertinism feel free, have the liberty to take the rubric libertinism in those patients who want to be free, okay? Who want to be free, in them you can take the rubric libertinism. And the third rubric, which she would cut herself, okay? That is mutilating self, okay? Now, what was this? It was a case of hypothyroidism. So now this also gives me a clue that there is a lot of autoimmunity. So we asked that patient to check her ATPO, which was absolutely as you predicted, it was very high. So 3 rubrics taken, I'll give you the repertorial totality here. Confusion, identity as to his libertinism, mutilating his body inclination for medorinum stramonium. She did not have that fear that panic thing of stramonium, and again the pathology she came up was more of psychotic pathology. Okay, we prescribed her medorinum tenem. Dr. Swati should be here listening to the webinar. She took the case, credit goes to her again, and she has the follow-up also. Okay, menses after medorinum, before that 1 year amenorrhea. Mind you, see, these are all cases which gives you goosebumps. Fine, 1 year amenorrhea, single dose of medorinum tenem, and she starts menstruating regularly. It's been more than a year since we have prescribed medorinum, and that Swati also was very keen to ask about her cutting, which you know is syphilitic. And she in her own words said, मैडम नहीं अभी मैं नहीं काट रहा हूँ, गुस्सा तो आ रहा है लेकिन गुस्सा मेरे काबू में है. I am able to control anger. I no more harm myself. Now this, when you have got this picture, when there is libertinism, when there is confusion of identity, all those things, and mutilating self, the remedy will be medorinum. So medorinum, a nosode, the only nosode that I have used for mutilating self. Again, Dr. Swati has taken another case of vitiligo, which we are yet to prescribe. There again, the small boy would peel off the skin around this nail till it bleeds. There again, we have made a totality. It's a case overseas, so sending the medicines due to lockdown is a problem. We are yet to prescribe, and probably once I prescribe, I can share the follow-up with you. Hope the materia medica part of mutilating self is clear. If this is clear, I'll also try to tell you about some practical aspects where probable pathologies that the person with mutilating self will suffer with. Mutilating self is an autoimmune rubric. So whenever you have a patient with mutilating self, he will definitely have a autoimmune pathology. Okay, vitiligo, rheumatoid arthritis, anything that you can talk of. You go to Google, put autoimmune diseases, you will get a list. Mind you, not every case of autoimmune disease should have mutilating self. Mutilating self is one autoimmune rubric. So every case of autoimmune rubric, please don't force the patient with this question, do you cut yourself? आप अपना उंगली दिखाओ, नाखून दिखाओ. Please don't do this. Okay, this is one autoimmune rubric. Okay, so a person with autoimmune thought process, a person with autoimmune disease will have autoimmune rubrics, and mutilating self is one such autoimmune rubric. Okay, so they generally come up with autoimmune pathologies. So this is where the rubric has to be used. Again, a practical point, which potency? See, mutilating self is something very higher. It is syphilitic. It is at the level of mind. Please don't be stingy, or please don't have that you have a broader thinking here. This or these cases will require a high potency. 10 m, 50 m, cm. Feel confident in prescribing. Many times, when I have some doctors discussing their cases, I tell them 10 m, I tell them 50 m, I tell them cm to give, and they are like, sir, मेरे पास 200 के ऊपर कुछ नहीं. You're getting my point. So certain diseases requires high potency, and a remedy or a disease where you are entering through mutilating self definitely requires a high potency. From my experience, that the cases I have shared with you, majority of the cases I have given single dose. Okay. Sometimes based on the severity of the disease, You can prescribe often. You may have to repeat also. That depends upon the case. Okay, conditions apply. But from whatever cases that I have shared, I have given single dose of 10 ml. Okay. Now this again is what Vijay sir very often says, keeps giving, though it is a Chinese proverb. See, I did not understand Chinese proverb, I did not understand homeopathy unless I followed or unless I got in touch with Vijay sir. Though it was a Chinese proverb, I got to know only after I met sir. See, this proverb says, give a man a fish and you will feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish and you will feed him for a lifetime. Now, this is a very apt proverb here. What I have tried to do here for last 1.5 hours is, I am trying to give you a concept. If you understand this concept will help you in a long, long way. Instead of giving a case and telling this is what you should do, it will end. So we are looking at a broader way. We are looking at a broader picture. So this is what I'm trying to do. We have the question and answer session now. Hope Dr. Bharat is ready with the questions, or even you can start typing the questions. Now, before I take up the questions, I have 2 or 3 more slides. I also have a YouTube channel, Dr. Vijay Krishna's lecture. If at all you want to listen to many lectures like this, I keep uploading, and kindly go through. If you feel it is worth it, you can definitely join this YouTube, and I'll be uploading. Even today's lecture will be uploaded shortly in this channel, YouTube channel. Okay, and there are few people whom I would like to thank before we take up the question and answers. My principal, it was his vision that a webinar series should happen. He felt we from government college should give back something to the students and to the fraternity. So Dr. Guru Prasad sir, under whom even I had a privilege to work, my teacher, sir, thank you for visualizing the entire thing, and thank you for considering me and giving me this opportunity. Thank you, sir. See, there are a lot of committee members, UG, PG committee members. It's a big list, so I can't have the entire list here, but I would definitely like to thank Dr. Rajeshwari ma'am, Dr. Renuka ma'am, and Dr. Anusaya ma'am. All of them have played a very important role, but these 3 deserves to be mentioned. I thank all the committee members, but I have seen them working very hard, sitting through the webinar series, introducing the speaker, charting out the points, seeing through that, the webinar series goes through very smoothly. So thank you all the committee members. See, when our principal sir had this vision, somebody had to take it further, take it forward. So you would have heard this PG scholar by name, okay, must be this one slide. Okay, fine. So before I come to that part, this is the college where I have studied. I owe so much to this college, and luckily I'm also teaching in this college. So I'm blessed to be part. It's a great feeling, your own college, you get an opportunity to teach, and your own college, you're invited and you get a webinar to present. So this is the college and the new 100-bedded hospital building. I owe a lot to this, from where I have learned from my basics. See, I was talking to you about one person. Once our principal sir planned this, then we wanted somebody to execute his plans. So one PG scholar, who has worked very hard, you know him, must be you don't know, you have not seen his face, a very responsible young doctor. He has gone through what, he has his dissertation to be submitted. In spite of all that, he has worked day in and day out. made sure the webinar series goes smoothly is none other than Dr. Bharat. Proud of you, Bharat, and keep up the good work. Bharat alone could not have done this job so meticulously. He had his own team. It was a teamwork headed by him. And I can't take all the pictures of the team members, so I'll be reading out their names. Dr. Mohammad Sali, Dr. Siddhamma, Dr. Jivesh from Organon Department, Dr. Rohit, Dr. Al-Sabah from Pediatrics, Dr. Swastik, Dr. Sushmita, Dr. Hiranmayi from Medicine, Dr. Krishna Das, Dr. Vaishnavi, Dr. Swati from Materia Medica, Dr. Manish, Dr. Nanda, Dr. Rohan, Dr. Nishkala, Dr. Srija, and Dr. Suvarna from the Repertory Department. See, I could have just displayed the names, but it is worth mentioning their names because they need a big round of applause. It's an online platform. Wherever you are, please appreciate the hard work they have done. And I also thank all the participants. 800 plus is not the number that is important, but number also gives you some kind of a satisfaction. A lot of seniors who have come in, I don't know really who all have come in. Okay, a lot of senior faculty from Predictive family. We have a lot of old students, my teachers, my colleagues from Government Homeopathic Medical College, lot of private college students from Karnataka, from South India, from India, they've all joined. Thank you for joining in a big number and hope this exercise of mine was fruitful. One sincere request, you as a homeopath should always be very humble. You should always have that eagerness to learn. Once you feel, I know everything, trust me, that's your end. So learning never ends. It's never too late to learn anything. Have that openness to learn. You are all fortunate that you have joined homeopathy. Vijay Kasar always tells, only who is destined will practice homeopathy. And I'm happy there are so many. Wish you all success, wish you all good luck. Hope we have done justice to all this. We'll keep time for the questionnaire. And thank you all. Thank you once again. Thank you everybody for joining in. And thank you for that nice interaction. I personally enjoyed. Hope you also enjoyed. My WhatsApp number, my mail ID, and back to the organizing committee. Questions?
Sir, I have questions, sir.
Yes.
One of the participant has asked, how do we recognize intellectual compromise? Is there any way to recognize it?
Okay. See, probably the knowledge of your allied science will help you. See now, I use that word intellect being compromised, meaning I use this in context with a case of ADHD. There, you know, they will not have a mind of their own. So the intellectual component there will not be very well developed. So please look into the medicine part, okay, where the intellect is compromised, and probably in such conditions, mutilating self has to be taken with a pinch of salt, is what I was trying to tell. Okay, so probably from your knowledge of psychiatry, you can get some more conditions where the intellect can be compromised. Okay, mental retardation, fine, brain not being developed, congenital anomalies. You will have to be little careful in understanding those things. Okay, anything else?
Sir, drinking and punishing himself in isolation, is that also can be taken as tormenting?
Can you come again, please? What is it?
Drinking and punishing himself in isolation.
Okay. Yeah. So yes, see now again, now somebody was trying to ask about that. See, you are drunk and you are under a substance abuse. You fall on road. Fine. Here again, mutilating self. or in a drunkard state, you torment yourself, you trouble yourself, this again has to be taken with a lot of care. Okay. See, not everybody who drinks will trouble themselves. It again depends how much you have drunk, what you have drunk, what is your individual capacity. All those things do come into your mind. But when you take such situations, please be a little careful. Okay. I hope I am clear with that part.
Yes.
So substance abuse, even for example, you are high, you are on alcohol, drugs, substance abuse. And in that high state, you do something and you don't know morning why you have done this. There again, this rubric, utility of this rubric will be a question mark. There is a psychiatric condition, non-suicidal self-injury. Please go through this. Non-suicidal self-injury. They have given a list of conditions. Read that and probably you can decide. Okay. Yes, Dr. Vaishnavi.
Yes, sir. Sir, they have asked, can mutilating self only be related at the physical level, or is there any other mental rubric which we can consider, like any other conditions?
Yes. See, for example, if it is at the level of mind, so there you can use tormenting oneself. We had used that rubric under differentiation. See, mutilating oneself is again more physical. Okay. For you to take, there should be the injured marks, there should be the situations that I have given. Blindly we can't take. Tormenting oneself is more at the level of mind. When your mind feels tortured, when your mind feels tormented, there you can take tormenting oneself. Okay, that will be a higher rubric at the level of mind. You can take it there. Mutilating, should have the injury, injury process should be there. If you have to take it as mutilating self.
Sir, what rupturing of the acne, is that also considered as mutilating?
Okay, see, these are all at a very lighter note. For example, rupturing acne. Yeah, there are people who keep meddling, pinching, breaking their acne. See to what extent. Okay. On a lighter note, yes, it can be considered. But if you are getting something bigger, something nice in the case, you can let go. But with a little pinch of salt, I feel I also have to introspect myself. But yes, you can take it. Because I remember once Vijayakar sir in a Kerala seminar, sir had taken mutilating self for a person who had bit the nail bed very badly. And sir could see some hemorrhagic spots. And sir gave arsenic. And it was a case of insulin-dependent diabetic mellitus. And that case beautifully improved. Insulin was stopped. See, sir's entry was from here. So probably keeping this in mind, if we apply the same to the pimple, wherein you torture, you harm yourself, probably even that can be taken on a broader note.
So why was ailments from not taken for any of these cases?
Yeah, very good. Beautiful question. See, again, we'll go to the organon. And that leg of organon of mine is a little shaky. I don't know the aphorism number. Again, learned from sir, but I number. In one aphorism, 186, some number, somewhere close to it. Somebody in the audience can also help me with the number. There, Dr. Hahnemann says, when the miasm has bloomed, don't take ailments into consideration. Swati, Shweta, or somebody in the participants can help with the exact number so that it will benefit the audience. So there, Dr. Hahnemann says, when the miasm has bloomed, see the cases that I gave you, they're all chronic cases. Okay. There, even that first case, though she came to me with examination funk, that used to happen every year. Last year, she went to some friend of mine. They had given gelsemium. She came back to me again this year. So their ailments from has no value. There you have to think something deeper. Okay. If ailments from retrospectively, if the remedy covers, it is nice. But don't enter the rubric ailments from in chronic cases. Acutes, aphorism number 5, aphorism number 73, exciting cause is very, very important. Okay, in chronic, what Hahnemann says is miasmatic cause becomes very important. So these cases that I gave you, they are all chronic cases. So I did not see the need for ailments from. Okay. Yeah, Dr. Shivshankar says footnote number 120. Yes, footnote number 120. Please go through. I have my organ book close by. I'll also refer footnote number 120, where Dr. Hahnemann says, in chronic cases, when the miasmas bloom, don't take ailments from. Hope the questions are answered, all valid questions. Any more questions, Dr. Vaishnavi?
Yes, sir. So
Yes.
what if we don't get any autoimmune rubrics in autoimmune cases? Then what do we do?
There is a lacunae in your case taking. There can't be an autoimmune disease without an autoimmune process. Okay, so we are lacking with the knowledge. Homeopathy is mathematics. That's what again Vijay Kasar says. And if an autoimmune process has happened, there will be an autoimmune rubric. So please reconsider the case, reconsider the rubrics, look into the autoimmune rubrics, and probably you can also have some direct questioning, but there will be an autoimmune rubric if there is an autoimmune disease. Okay.
Sir, any book you would suggest to read about the miasm and mind rubrics?
See, miasms, the best book is Vijay Kasar's book on end of miasmation. There is a book which Vijay Kasar has written. We will probably one of the assistant doctors will share it in the chat box. Every homeopath, whether you belong to which school you belong is immaterial, but book on miasm is what Vijay Kasar has written. Beautifully explained. He has used the modern science. He has used what embryology. He has explained it. So students, even practitioners, can go through that book. Can I have the full name? One of the we will just send you the book name. Okay. End of Dr. Swati has typed it there. End of miasms. Okay. So that's the book by Vijay Kasar. Probably I didn't get it right pronunciation. Okay, but that's the book. Fine. Yes, Dr. Vaishnavi.
Sir, why was stramonium 10M given? And if in the same situation, if other potencies were given, what would have happened?
Okay, fine. So why was 10M given? This is a question that I've already answered when I did that component on dose and potency. See, when you're looking at something which is higher, okay, she has got suicidal thoughts, she is mutilating herself, there is so much of remorse in her. When you have so many mental symptoms, and Dr. Mino had a strong fear that she might do anything any minute. When you have this kind of an emotional state, please always think of a high potency. In past, before meeting sir, I would have probably tried 200, but you don't get the kind of results that you expect. Okay. When you have more of mental symptoms, when you have more of autoimmune related rubrics, don't hesitate to prescribe high potency. Please do this. You have my WhatsApp number, you have my mail ID, you can always get back to me. The results will be very satisfactory and it will be wonderful results. Okay. More the mental symptoms, higher the potency. This is the formula. Yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the enlightening session. That was an overwhelming response from the audience side also. I guess almost 800 plus participants were there today, and most of them were great homeopaths practicing all over Karnataka. So we are really happy for the response. And the audience also will agree with me when I say that as promised, sir, you never disappoint us in giving us something new always and something useful for our practice. We do have difficulties in understanding and utilizing all those rubrics in our repertory, but this session definitely did encourage us, and also these rubrics, we'll definitely put it into practice, and we can also solve a lot of cases, and I wish that all the participants also will agree with me with this. Thank you so much, sir. And
A
also a
pleasure.
reminder to all the participants, tomorrow our speaker will be Dr. Mansoor Ali, and he will be speaking on professionalism and clinical practice.